I'm so excited to announce my next free class coming up on April 16th, 2024, titled 10 Things Everyone with Kidney Stones Needs to Know. Again, this is a free class, so be sure to register to join me live or to get a free recording. Head to kidneystoneclass.com to reserve your spot today. Welcome to the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast. I'm your host, registered dietitian and kidney stone expert, Melanie Betts. After learning a ton about kidney stones and helping people prevent stones at the University of Chicago, I was fed up with all the terrible advice people were finding online. So I decided to do something about it. The Kidney Dietitian was born. This podcast is for people who want to learn what actually works to prevent kidney stones and still enjoy life, eating, and their favorite foods. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the 38th episode of the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast. I'm your host, registered dietitian and kidney stone expert, Melanie Betts, and today we have a fantastic question from a listener, Lisa, about collagen and kidney stones. So let's listen in.
Hi, Melanie. This is Lisa, and I would like to know if collagen protein powder can cause kidney stones. This is very confusing for me with all the things I've been trying to research about it online. So if you could help me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Bye.
So thank you again, Lisa, for that really wonderful question about collagen and kidney stones. I definitely wanted to tackle this one on the podcast because I've gotten a lot of questions about collagen and honestly protein supplements in general and kidney stones and if they are okay to take. So as always, the answer is not as clean cut as we may want it to be, but I'll do my best to answer the question as comprehensively as I possibly can. So before we dive into collagen and what it can do for us, I thought it would be important to talk about what collagen is in general. So collagen is literally an animal product that is found in animal connective tissue. So collagen is the connective tissue that makes up our skin, tendons, bones, and cartilage, or it's a big component of many of those tissues in our bodies. And so collagen supplements have become quite popular over the past, however many years, and they claim to do all sorts of very amazing things for our bodies. So they claim to help smooth skin and help our wrinkles, boost skin elasticity, make finger and toenails grow stronger, improve gut health and heart health. Like honestly, like most supplements, you can find claim that collagen supplements will help basically any ailment that you might have under the sun. I did want to mention that the data behind nearly all of these claims is completely null. Like there really is not much research into collagen protein supplements specifically, as far as I could tell, for all of these things that I just mentioned. The only thing that does show that there may be a slight benefit to collagen supplements is actually for joint pain, or knee pain specifically. But again, these are very small studies with very small numbers of people. So it's not something that I would necessarily recommend for general health for any of these conditions. If you have something else that you're taking collagen for, feel free to comment on this video or let me know. And I'm always up for learning about other potential benefits, but it seems like generally the research behind collagen is pretty sparse. And so we really then have to weigh the benefits versus risks of taking collagen supplements, just like any supplements, as you know, for kidney health or for health in general. So what is a collagen supplement? So we know that collagen itself is this compound that is in our bodies and a lot of our connective tissues. And so collagen supplements is literally kind of taking that tissue and putting it into a powder and selling it to you in usually a powder form. And so remember that whatever form you are taking collagen in, that's basically a protein supplement. Whether it is, collagen peptides or, vegan collagen or whatever it is, it really is just a protein supplement. And so this protein really needs to be taken into account over your whole day, right? And of course, the amount of protein that is provided from collagen supplements is widely varied. I found supplements with anywhere from 10 to 30 grams of protein per serving. So generally that's a fair amount of protein, right? So a small piece of chicken, say like a 3 or 4 ounce piece of chicken or beef or fish, provides about 24-ish grams of protein. And so this one collagen supplement really is giving you basically the amount of protein that a small piece of chicken would be. So just kind of keep that in mind as we work through all of my points here about collagen and kidney stones. So before we talk about collagen specifically, I just wanted to kind of rehash what the deal is with protein and kidney stones in general, specifically non-dairy animal protein. Remember that nearly all collagen supplements are animal protein because they're coming from animal products. And so it really is an animal protein. And non-dairy animal protein, so this includes any protein from things like beef, pork, fish, chicken, any animal protein that is coming from a food that is not dairy, is specifically called out in the kidney stone guidelines for potentially causing harm when it comes to kidney stones. Of course, this is going to matter, like if you should be eating more or less protein matters a ton on what your urine test looks like and what the rest of your diet is, right? I'm certainly not saying that everyone with kidney stones needs to stop eating non-dairy animal protein. Definitely not. But I do think it's important to really kind of check in with our urine test and how much protein we're actually eating, because despite what the world kind of is telling us now, in this world where protein is this, this super nutrient and all of us should be eating more protein, most of us are actually getting a lot more protein than we need. And most of us are getting most of our protein from non-dairy animal proteins, right? Most of us are eating a diet that has honestly a lot more chicken, beef, pork, fish than we really need. So when we look into the nitty-gritty of this, as you know that I like to do, about what specifically too much of this non-dairy animal protein is doing to our urine, the biggest things is it can lower urine citrate. And we know that urine citrate is a really good thing for calcium stone prevention. Just having low levels of urine citrate is enough to cause calcium oxalate stones in some people. So if you have low urine citrate, it's definitely a good idea to make sure that you're not eating too much of this non-dairy animal protein, because that could be contributing to that lower urine citrate. Of course, there's a gazillion reasons why your citrate might be low, but eating too much non-dairy animal protein, it may be one of them, or contributing to that lower urine citrate. Another thing that too much non-dairy animal protein can do is drive up the amount of calcium in our urine. And this is really, really important because high urine calcium is really by far the most common cause of kidney stones. And so if you find that on your 24-hour urine test that you have high urine calcium, it definitely makes sense to make sure that you're not eating too much of this non-dairy animal protein. Another thing that it can do is drive your urine pH down. So all of these non-dairy animal proteins that I'm talking about are metabolized to produce acid, and that acid ends up in our urine. So that means that your pH is low. And so eating too much of this protein can also drive your urine pH down, which can put you at risk of certain types of stones. Another thing that I think is very fascinating, and this kind of ties into my next point here, is that eating too much non-dairy animal protein can also cause the oxalate in your urine to go up, despite the fact that beef, chicken, fish, pork has zero oxalate in it, because we know oxalate is only found in plant foods, but eating too much of these animal proteins can actually drive up your urine oxalate, which I think is a really important point, because there's a lot of the oxalate hate groups out there claim that you should be on a carnivore diet, so eating a ton of meat all the time because it doesn't have oxalate, because oxalate is doing all these terrible things to our bodies. But they apparently don't understand and don't realize that the liver actually can make oxalate, and does make quite a bit of oxalate. There's been studies from actually a group that I'm involved with from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I'm helping them with some research menus for their low oxalate and high oxalate metabolic studies. They found that up to 50% of the oxalate that is in your urine isn't at all related to how much oxalate you're eating. So let me say that again. So up to half of the oxalate that ends up in your urine isn't at all attributed to the oxalate that is in the food that you're eating. And so even if you were eating a zero oxalate diet, which for the record would be a terribly unhealthy diet in general, but even if you were, you would still only reduce the amount of oxalate to a maximum of 50% of the oxalate in your urine. And so that tells us that oxalate is coming from somewhere else, right? Like if it's not what we're eating, something else is going on. And that something else that is going on is your liver is making oxalate. And it makes quite a bit. And your liver can make oxalate from a wide variety of things. One of the most important things actually is vitamin C, ascorbic acid, which is one of the reasons that we talk a lot about avoiding vitamin C supplements for kidney stone prevention, because when you're taking vitamin C in supplemental form, you tend to be taking a super large dose, and that sort of influx of ascorbic acid or vitamin C can predispose your liver to make even more oxalate. And we definitely see a higher risk of stones in people who take sort of chronically very high vitamin C supplements. For the record, whenever I go into that point, I always have to mention, of course, that vitamin C from fruits is not at all concerning, because people who eat more fruit have a lower risk of stones, hands down, in every single study I've ever seen. So we do not need to be avoiding vitamin C rich foods, but vitamin C supplements, if you have high urine oxalate on your urine test, might be a good thing to avoid. So in addition to vitamin C, kind of going back to the protein topic of today, another big thing that your liver can make oxalate from is protein and specific amino acids. So amino acids is just the fancy word for sort of these building blocks of proteins. Proteins are long chains of a whole bunch of specific amino acids. And the liver can make oxalate, and does make oxalate, a fair amount of oxalate, from specific amino acids. Specifically, hydroxyproline and glycine are two of the main amino acids that your liver can make oxalate from. And when we look at the types of amino acids that is in collagen protein, so this concentrated collagen supplement that you may be taking for whatever reason, the collagen itself is made from hydroxyproline, glycine, and proline. So, and two of those big components of collagen, that hydroxyproline and glycine, can be made into oxalate in your liver. And we know, again, that oxalate in your liver can contribute quite significantly to the amount of oxalate in your urine, which definitely does increase our risk of stones. And so I just wanted to kind of, point that out, because collagen really is just like taking a concentrated dose of more non-dairy animal protein. And many of us have urine risk factors that are worsened by higher amounts of non-dairy animal protein intake. And so for most people, it really doesn't make sense, and it really could be harmful to add on this additional non-dairy animal protein, because most of us are eating a lot more protein than we need anyway. So adding this extra protein really isn't going to do much good, especially when you look at the quality of the data saying that collagen is going to help your bones or help your gut or help your hair and nails. Like, the data just really isn't there. And so to me, the risk of sort of pumping in this concentrated dose of these specific amino acids that can be converted to oxalate in your liver when you don't need that protein anyway, really doesn't make sense for a lot of people. And so kind of attempting to wrap all of this up is, can I take it? Is it okay for me to take it? It really depends. It depends on what's going on in your 24-hour urine test. If you have high urine oxalate, if you have low urine pH, high urine calcium, or low urine citrate, which, is the vast majority of stone formers, that was a lot of risk factors. I really would avoid it, especially when you look at your diet. You work with a dietitian, you understand your urine test, and you see that you actually are eating plenty of protein. It really just doesn't make sense to me to add on this protein supplement at all, but especially collagen when it is especially high in these amino acids that can be made into oxalate. So, I always like to tie this back to hard outcomes research. So do we have data? Do we have research that shows that people who take collagen supplements form more kidney stones? The answer is no. I will be completely blunt that that data just simply hasn't been done. Like, the research hasn't been done. We don't have data to show that. However, kind of when you look into the biochemistry of it and you understand what is causing stones and what most people are eating and what most people are eating to form stones, protein is a really big part of it, just because we tend to eat so much protein in the United States, at least, and in many other countries. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not worth the risk to add in this collagen supplement. It would be much, much better for your bones and for your health to spend that money on some extra fruits and vegetables. Much better for your health to spend that energy moving your body a little bit more to help your bones, right? Whatever it is. But really, is it okay to take? It depends. Am I saying that if you start taking collagen supplements, you're going to start forming, kidney stones rapidly? Probably not, unless you're taking this crazy large dose on top of a really high protein diet. Like, kidney stones are not this one all be all, like you need to do X, Y, Z and it's guaranteed to stop them or guaranteed to form them, right? There's so many different factors going into it. But for me, collagen powder or supplements or collagen peptides or whatever form you're taking these in, just really aren't worth the risk, especially when we don't think that there's really much benefit, or we don't know that there is much benefit. You can easily get collagen from actual food. If you've been around me a long time, you know that I am a big fan of getting nutrients and what our bodies need from food, because that is always a better source than a supplement whenever possible. So for most people, I cannot recommend collagen supplements and would actually recommend avoiding them for most people. So Lisa, I hope that helps. I know that was a very long-winded answer to what you probably thought was a very simple question, but I love to go into the research and help everyone kind of understand why I'm making whatever recommendation I'm making. So I really hope that helps. If you are interested in leaving a question like Lisa did for the podcast, I would love to hear from you. I'm always looking for other fantastic questions to answer on the podcast. There is a link in the show notes to go and record your question for a chance to get answered on the podcast. I really would love to hear from you. So with that, I will end this episode of the Eat Away Kidney Stones podcast, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for listening to today's episode. For more help with kidney stones, check out my website, www.thekidneydietitian.org. For more personalized help from me, check out my online course, Kidney Stone Nutrition School. VIP enrollment includes help directly from me. I can't wait to see you there and help you prevent kidney stones. Have a great day.